Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the next in our series of Roadmap for Progress Town Hall meetings. My name is David Donofrio. I am honored to be the chairman of Roadmap for Progress, and today I am being joined by Nick Rubando. He is the congressional candidate for the Ohio 5th District. Welcome, Nick.
Hey, how's it going, David? I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much for inviting us. Thank you so much for endorsing our campaign. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. We're so glad to have you. So, just so you are aware, tonight's town hall is going to be approximately 30 minutes. We want to give Nick the opportunity to introduce himself to you and go over the important issues in his campaign. I did want to also mention that pinned on this website today is a link that you can donate. There is also going to be information about this Saturday's Day of Action, September 19th, and you're going to have the opportunity from anywhere in the country to assist Nick with his campaign. So we're really excited about that. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So, Nick, if you don't mind quickly introducing yourself to us, let us know a little bit of information about you and why you decided to run for Congress.
Great. Well, thank you so much, David. So again, we're running for United States Congress here in Ohio's 5th district. That's Northwest Ohio. So the Toledo, Ohio area. I grew up right outside of Toledo, Ohio, in an area called Holland. I went to high school here, and then I ended up actually going to college at Indiana University. And at that time, unfortunately, my parents split up. They got divorced. It was 2008. The financial crisis occurred, and my father lost his job. My mom lost her health insurance. And as a woman, a single woman with a pre-existing condition before the Affordable Care Act passed, I saw how hard it was for my mom to afford an individualized insurance plan and how much that weighed on her and my family. And at that same time, I started hearing about Barack Obama and how he was running for president and how he wanted to ensure that millions of Americans received the healthcare coverage that they deserved. And I started volunteering on his campaign. And, I was just registering student voters, getting people involved, bringing them to meetings. And the work we did on Indiana University's campus allowed the state of Indiana to flip from red to blue for the first time in nearly 50 years. And, of course, Barack Obama won that election. He passed the Affordable Care Act. My mom was able to afford an individualized insurance plan. And because of that, she was able to start her own small business. And she still runs that business today. And I realized how small steps that every one of us take can affect the lives of millions of Americans. And that's really what got me into politics. And that's what made me realize that we all can make a difference. And after college, I moved out to Southern California. I worked for a tech startup out there, but I continued to stay politically involved, working on city council races, and most recently, a congressional race in California's 25th district, where I was a field organizer. We flipped that district from red to blue. And after that, I decided to move home back here to Ohio. I mean, I loved growing up here. I know the importance of this state when it comes to political politics. And, I decided to move back to get involved here in Ohio. I started working with the Young Democrats of Wood County and Lucas County. I started volunteering with the Advocates for a Clean Lake Erie. I was working at the Toledo Metro Parks, just talking about the importance of green spaces and why it's so essential to protect our environment. And, I started to look into who is representing our area. I mean, here in Ohio, we're top two in opioid related deaths. Our lake turns green every summer because of toxic algal blooms. And, even before the pandemic, we were seeing, record family farm bankruptcies. We were seeing manufacturing jobs fleeing this area. So I really wanted to get involved politically. And I saw that Bob Latta was representing our current district. And this is an individual who sits on the Energy and Commerce Committee. So he's actually supposed to be regulating the oil and gas and the pharmaceutical industries. So he has an amazing opportunity to really help Northwest Ohio. And unfortunately, he's not doing anything to ensure our success. In fact, he's doing the exact opposite and taking hundreds of thousands of dollars from the oil and gas industry, from the pharmaceutical industry. And that's just not right. And everyone I was talking to here was saying that they were tired of having a representative who doesn't show up, doesn't have any town halls, only accepts money from big corporate donors, and doesn't do anything for the people here in Northwest Ohio. So I was encouraged by the community to step up and to run. And I've never been one to back down from a challenge, David. So I decided to do it. And it's been fantastic because we have really gotten so much excitement and so much support from the community, from the people here of Northwest Ohio. And that's really what is important to us, is because, we are a people powered campaign. This is true grassroots politics. This is my first time running. We're trying to run to end corruption in Washington. So we care about what the people really believe in and what they're focused on. And that's why, we personally are focused on, one, I think most importantly now is really what we have to do to get us out of this coronavirus pandemic and how we can ensure that we are all being safe and secure. Secondly, is once we are out of this coronavirus pandemic, how do we rebuild our economy? I mean, we are seeing record job losses and unemployment. And as I told you, even before the pandemic hit, this area was not doing great economically. So how can we rebuild our economy after this pandemic? How do we keep people safe? How do we provide health care for everyone? And how do we ensure that we are protecting our environment? Because I think first and foremost, that is completely important. We need to ensure that we are the generation that protects this environment for generations to come. So that's what our campaign is focused on. That is the change that we're trying to bring to Northwest Ohio. And we like to look at it as a generational change. Bob Latta has been in there for 10 plus years. His father actually held this seat before him. So Latta has run this county or run this district for almost 42 years now. And we think it's time for some true generational change.
It certainly sounds like it. And you definitely talked about Obama was one of the ones that got a lot of us involved for the first time. And I noticed
Mhm.
your logo actually kind of harkens to his. So in a Northwest Ohio way. So I think
Yeah,
that's really
well,
cool.
it's a play on the seal of Ohio as well. And when
Oh
we were
yeah,
Yeah. When we were
that's
looking at
really
the seal
cool.
of Ohio, we were like, oh, also that looks sort of like the Obama logo. And that's, I mean, again, you're exactly right. That's how I got involved in politics. A lot of my team, just the age they are, they kind of grew up in that Obama era, and that was the first time that they, started going canvassing and started knocking on doors. So yeah, I mean, it was definitely a little intentional there.
That's awesome. Really cool. So to dive in a little bit, as one of our endorsed candidates, we view you as someone who will put our community and our broader country on the roadmap for progress. And so
Mhm.
I wanted to ask you a little bit what that kind of aspiration means to you.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking that question, David. Again, I think the roadmap to progress, especially in this area, is kind of the investing in our economic recovery. And what that means to me is investing in infrastructure here. And when I say infrastructure, of course, we're talking about roads and high speed rail, but we're also talking about a green energy system. Here in Northwest Ohio, we have a first solar plant in Perrysburg, which is the largest first solar panel manufacturing plant in the entire North America. And we could be replicating that
Wow.
all over our district. We also have an amazing opportunity to invest in wind power. We're utilizing right now less than 1% of our potential wind power in the state of Ohio. So we have a huge economic opportunity to invest in that. But infrastructure spending also goes to new schools and new hospitals and rural broadband internet, which I think is extremely important, especially in our district. I mean, if you do not have reliable access to internet, there is no way that you can become economically successful. So that's why we are launching an initiative that we like to call Our Era. It's our economic recovery of America, where we invest in infrastructure spending. What we're going to do with that is actually start an infrastructure bank which has been an idea that has been around since the founding of America. The first national bank actually came from George Washington and Alexander Hamilton, who started a national bank. So this is as American as it comes. We can invest in infrastructure. We can create 25 million new jobs. And to do all this, there would be no new taxes and no new debt. So I think that that is extremely important. And that is how we really drive down the roadmap for progress.
I love that. That's really cool. I'm excited to know more about that infrastructure plan.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Um, so I wanted to touch on so throughout our process, one of the things that we've done for all of our candidates is you've completed a questionnaire.
Mhm.
And our screening team was particularly impressed by your answer on education. And so I wanted to touch on that a little bit more and let our broader audience know about what you believe you're going to be able to bring to America's system of education as a member of Congress.
Yeah. Well, thank you for asking that question, David, because I think, education is on the minds of everyone right now as children are back in school and like, are we doing this safely? Are people doing remote learning? Are people going back to classrooms? I think we really need to invest in our educational system just for the benefit of the American people. I think it's really scary seeing kids back in classrooms right now and not knowing if they have the proper investment to ensure that they're staying safe. I mean, do we have tests? Do we have temperature checks? Are people staying 6 feet apart? Are they wearing masks? And I feel like this has really been a failing of the federal government to ensure that we have national guidelines for the safety of our children going back to schools. And it's sad to see the national government and the president really dropping the ball on this. I mean, this is an opportunity where we should be stepping up and we should be protecting the children of America. And it's appalling to see that that ball has been dropped there. But on a broader scale, I think that our campaign wants to invest in early childhood education and make it so that there is a option for universal early childhood education. I think that this is extremely important, again, when it comes to an economic sense. There are a lot of people who work two jobs where the mom and the dad, or the dad and the dad, or the mom and the mom both work. And they don't, childcare expenses are huge until you get up to kindergarten. So that's why I think we need to offer a universal pre-K system so that parents have the opportunity to, let their children go to a safe learning environment while they're at work. I think this is extremely important. We also want to invest in debt-free college. I mean, I myself come from the generation of individuals just saddled with college debt, and I think it's hindering
Me too.
our economic success. We're not able to go out and buy homes or start families because all we're doing is every paycheck we get, it goes right back to the paying off our student debt. So that's extremely important for us. And I think the only way, again, just to harp on this economic success and this economic recovery, is by also investing in our education system.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Um, so going to kind of the current events, and just kind of the two pieces that have defined 2020. One of those is this heartbreaking COVID-19 pandemic,
Mhm.
which you've already touched on a little bit. I'm curious to know what that has meant, and you've mentioned it a little bit, but to go in a little bit more depth of this has touched on healthcare and a lot of the issues in this country that have been in a lot of ways just kind of by this administration and the current Congress kicking the can down the road, and it has shown us the urgency that is facing so many millions of families. And so if you could touch on how COVID-19 has affected Northwest Ohio, and what what challenges and what opportunities do you see that is presented for your region in particular?
Yeah. Again, thank you for asking this question because I do think, I mean, of course, this is on everyone's top of mind, and you can't help but see it every day. I mean, from businesses closing down to family and friends dying, it's ever present in our lives, and especially here in Northwest Ohio, it's been hard. I have a woman on our staff whose family owns a couple bars here in Northwest Ohio, and it's been very, very tough economically for them. And I think that the main problem with that is that, again, we have not had federal guidelines as to how to reopen safely. Should everyone be wearing masks? Which, yes, you should be wearing a mask. I don't even know how that is a political issue. I mean, that's just a scientific issue that should be everyone should be wearing a mask to help save our lives. And to have that turn into a political issue is heartbreaking because that's affecting the livelihood and the actual lives of millions of Americans. And so I mean, we've definitely seen it. I live in Bowling Green, Ohio. It's a college town. There's a beautiful main street, and there was a lot of new businesses that were slated to open uh, right around February this new year of 2020, and unfortunately, they're still not open. And I think we all know the reason why, but it's tough because we were seeing a revitalization of our downtown Main Street, and then unfortunately, this hit, and it has kind of stopped everything in its tracks. So that has been sad to see. But with that being said, David, and I agree, I do think that it opens up some opportunities because I think now everyone is truly paying attention, and everyone now realizes the importance of having strong leadership that you can count on, that actually shows up and actually has everyone's best interest at heart. And that is what we're seeing in our campaign, is people wanting to really get involved, people really wanting to make a change because they're seeing that, I mean, and no exaggeration, this is a life or death situation, and that we really need to make some positive changes to ensure that we can come out of this on the other end stronger, better. I mean, I think that's why Joe Biden has a great slogan, build back better. Like, we can overcome coronavirus and we can become stronger than we were before. And I think that the reason that we're in such an economic bind, it opens up opportunities to start things like an infrastructure bank. And I think people now are seeing that our healthcare system is broken and that we do need to invest in a universal single payer healthcare system. It's tough to have healthcare tied to your employer when there's millions of people who are unemployed and losing their health insurance. So while this is horrible, and I've lost family friends due to this disease.
I'm so
I do
sorry.
think that it opens up opportunities for us to ensure that we can make America even better. So that's what we're looking forward to. That's what our campaign is focused on: is how do we recover? How do we become the best country we can? And I think America has been built on overcoming adversity, and that's what makes her great. And that's what our campaign is focused on.
Thank you so much, Nick. And I'm also so sorry to hear of the people that you have lost. I think a lot of us have experienced the same thing. Unfortunately, it's continuing to increase, and it to me just underscores, in their memory that we need to do something.
Mhm.
Um, the other the other kind of big national discourse that has defined 2020 has been the Black Lives Matter movement.
Mhm.
And to those of us who roam out for progress, and to many around the country, it is another underscore of this systemic racism which has met generation after generation of our fellow citizens. And
Mhm.
it too often is just regarded as this bumper sticker, this, we need to do better. But I feel like we really have an opportunity right now to really do something meaningful and impactful that's actually going to make these words mean something. And so, to all of the people in your community, to all of our Black and Brown brothers and sisters around this country, what meaningful change do you pledge to bring to the halls of Congress to really make all of this movement mean something for the long term?
Yeah. Again, David, I appreciate you asking this question because we have definitely seen a extremely strong Black Lives Matter movement here in Ohio, and it has been joyful to see. And I think again, just to state it, Black lives do matter, and it is important to say that. But what we have seen here in Northwest Ohio is, of course, I attended one of the first rallies in the Toledo area where there are a lot of Black and brown individuals. But I've also attended rallies in Defiance, in Findlay, in Swanton area and Perrysburg, where it's very, very white. But to see these individuals who are like, no, no, it doesn't matter what color you are, this is wrong, and we need to stand up against this, and we need to show everyone that they matter, and that Black lives do matter, and that everyone live is sacred. See people standing up and really going out there and marching, and sometimes with opposition. I've also been at marches where there are people across the street very menacingly with guns, and but people aren't afraid because they're saying that enough is enough. We have to make our voices heard. We have to stand up in this community and let everyone know that they are a part of this community, especially Black lives, that they are a part of these communities, that they are valued, and that this kind of injustice is no longer going to be accepted. And I think that that is extremely heartening to see all throughout our district, especially in some of the more rural parts. It warms my heart. And I've talked to Black individuals who have gone to these rallies who are crying when they speak, and because they just see the outpouring of support from people that don't look like them. And I think that that's the most important part, is that they're seeing that a whole community is coming together and saying, yes, your life does matter. And going to these rallies and just listening has really been enlightening, because these are not situations that I face every day as a white male. And I think you know one of I think the most important qualities of leadership is just to listen. And so I like going to these rallies and listening to individuals and just hearing what people have to say and making changes that way. And with that being said, I do think that we can look at how we are investing our money in the public sector. Right now we have a police force that we're putting a ton of money in, and we're saying, hey, we have a mental health crisis. Let's just let the police force deal with it. We have an educational crisis. Let's let the police force deal with it. We have a homelessness crisis. Let's just let the police force deal with it. And we give them all this money, but like, I personally think that maybe we should be investing some of that money. If we have a mental health crisis, we should be investing money in mental health providers and ensuring that everyone has health care, and maybe not having the police focus on that. If we have an opioid addiction crisis like what we have in here, instead of letting the police deal with that, we should have again, more healthcare, more safe houses where people can go to and actually get the help that they need. So I definitely think that we need to start looking at better ways of investing our dollars into ensuring that the most people are staying safe and healthy. And as far that can be done on a local level, which is amazing. As far as being in Congress, I mean, I definitely think we need to outlaw no-knock warrants. I think we need to ensure that we really look into the situation of quantitative immunity, which we've seen, and have some police officers be able to not get sued for any actions that they take. So these are all issues that are currently being taken up in Congress right now and have been passed through the House, but unfortunately are kind of stopped up in the Senate, and that's why we need to create some changes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nick. Um, did want to just remind everybody, in case you might just be joining us, that you can get involved in Nick's campaign. We have a donation link that is attached to this video. We also are going to be having this Saturday on September 19th a day of action where you can get involved from anywhere in the country to get involved. So if you like what you are hearing, we hope that you will join the effort and help get Nick into Congress, because we can all admit Congress is going to be a better place if voices like yours are going to be sent there in November.
Thank you.
Um, I wanted to touch on leadership in general. As we're aware, there is a lack of leadership being displayed right from the White House in Washington all the way on down. And I think it's easy for a lot of people who are watching this to maybe just kind of feel really disillusioned and feel like, does my vote really matter? Does is there really that big of a difference between the parties or between the candidates? And so, if you don't mind, I'd like you to touch on leadership in general. What are the things that and the qualities that we should be seeking from our leaders in public office? And why does people's attention really matter in a race like yours?
Yeah. Again, great question. And just to answer it simply, I mean, yes, your vote and your voice does matter immensely. And, you know, if you're not inspired by the top of the ticket, look down ballot. Find someone that you are inspired by, because I guarantee you that, you know, your county commissioner or your state rep or your city council person, you're going to find someone that you are really, really inspired by and that you want to get behind. And I think as Democrats, we have focused too much on the top of the ticket sometimes and have, you know, kind of faltered in the responsibility of investing in down ballot races, because you know, there are some amazing people who are running on a local level that can really make some big changes. So, you know, if you're not inspired by your president or your congressperson, look for, you know, look for a city council race that maybe you can get behind, because when you run strong races everywhere, it helps Democrats up and down the ticket, which I think is extremely important. And I will just say this, you know, if you like what I'm doing, if you want to see me in Congress and you believe in what we're doing here and what Roadmap for Progress is doing, I can guarantee you that the policies that we are trying to enact will be much easier to do with Joe Biden as the president. No doubt about it. Anything that I want to get done, if Donald Trump is the president, it's not going to get done. I, I mean, I can just tell you that much right now. So if for whatever reason you're not inspired by the top of the ticket, just know that if you are inspired by me or by anyone else who's running as a Democrat, they're not going to be able to get anything done if Joe Biden is not elected and Donald Trump is still the president. So I think that that's extremely important. Now, I personally do think that Joe Biden is doing a great job. I think that he's listening to voices on both sides. I think Kamala Harris has been an amazing addition to the ticket, and I'm really excited to work up and down the ballot. And what, like you said, what is an important thing in leadership is listening. And I think that Joe Biden has shown that he has listened to voices and that he has adjusted his policy platforms accordingly. And that's what we're trying to do as well, is listen to individuals. You know, we've been holding town halls, even when we're not able to do them in person. We've been doing them on Facebook to ensure that we're getting voices. You know, I try to make myself as available to our constituents as possible. You know, I give out my phone number whenever possible and give out my email. And I appreciate when I post a picture and, you know, people ask me, hey, what's your policy on healthcare, on a picture of just me riding my bike, you know? But I think it's important that people feel like they can ask me a question and that I will answer them. And that's what we're doing, because we want to listen to our community. You know, for so long, we've had a congressman who hasn't been listening, who hasn't been holding town halls, who hasn't been out in the community, and who really hasn't cared what the people thought, because he's only listening to his corporate donors. And that is something that we want to change, and we know we need to change if we want to have representational leadership. So I think that is something that is extremely important in a leader is their ability to listen, and then to take in that information and then create some action. And I think too many times we have leaders who think that they know it all or that only they can fix it. That's ridiculous. It takes a community, it takes a village, and I think that it's important to listen to an array of different voices and then make informed decisions based off of that information.
Great. Thank you so much, Nick. Um, so to bring this full circle and to kind of go off of your prior answer, um, I did want to give you an opportunity to kind of present your closing argument. But knowing so and knowing that our audience is kind of a national one, um, we may have people, coast to coast who maybe they live in a very, blue area and they're looking for an opportunity to be involved, and they're looking for a way to be helpful. I think that what what we've learned kind of through not just recent technology, but especially this year, is how much we can do no matter where we are. And we could be in our home, but we could still be making a difference. And so, to anybody here who is wondering, gee, maybe I can't get involved in my own community, but I can help the country out by assisting Nick's race. What sort of change are people helping you achieve when they decide to invest their time, talent, and treasure in the Ohio 5th Congressional District?
Yeah. Well, first of all, David, that's an amazing point because, like I was saying, Ohio plays an oversized role in electoral politics, just the way that the electoral college is set up. And, I'm not sure if you know this or our viewers know this, but no Republican has ever won the presidency without first winning Ohio. So when we flip this district, we will flip this state, and we will basically ensure that Donald Trump will not get reelected president. Joe Biden just did $1 million ad buy right in the Toledo media market, which is the heart of our district, because he knows that he can flip Ohio, but he also knows that to flip Ohio, he has to win our district specifically. So, every dollar, every phone call, every postcard invested in this district is not only helping me win, but it's helping Joe Biden win. It's helping get Donald Trump out of office, as well as, bring up Democrats from the ground up. I mean, we're working with state reps, with or with House representatives, with county commissioners, to try to ensure that we're flipping Ohio blue. And that's, I think, is the most important thing. Is we realize the importance of this state, and that's why we're working extremely hard to flip this pivot district in this swing state. We just had a poll come out. We're only a few points behind this entrenched Republican.
Wow.
So we're working extremely hard to make this district flip. Every year there's a couple seats that people really look to that are excited that there's a possibility to make this flip and there's a possibility to create some real change. And that's what we're doing here in Northwest Ohio. So we appreciate all the support. I mean, we've gotten people making phone calls for us from California to New York, which is amazing. We have donors, I think, from almost every 50 states, or all 50 states, because they recognize the importance of Ohio. They recognize the importance of this district. So we appreciate having groups like you, so we're able to really amplify our message out to people, because we have a district that we know we can flip blue in a state that we know we have to flip blue if we want to get rid of Donald Trump.
That is awesome. So, everyone, this is Nick Rubando. He is going to be the next congressman for the Ohio 5th District. We thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. Um, and just one final reminder as we close here, you can get involved in Nick's campaign by clicking the pinned link here with a donation link. There is also going to be this Saturday, September 19th, a day of action where you can get involved in his race specifically. And so thank you so much, Nick, for taking the time to meet with us today. Thank you for being part of Roadmap for Progress's first group of candidates. We're really excited about your race. We're excited to help you. And everyone, make sure to stay tuned next week when we feature the next of our featured candidates in our next weekly town hall. So thank you so much, Nick, and we will talk to you again soon.
Great. Well, hey, David, thank you so much for the opportunity. We really appreciate it. Your group has been phenomenal with all the support that you've provided, and all the other candidates that you've chosen have been great as well. So we look forward to continuing our connection, and thank you all so much for the help and support. It really means so much. We know that we can create some positive change here in Ohio and throughout the country. So again, thank you so much. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.